500 days of violence in Manipur, around 19 months of Manipur being on the edge, over 250 people being killed, lakhs scarred. Elected governments have failed, the BJP government at the centre and the state, when it comes to really ensuring peace. It was less than 2 months ago that Biren Singh government went to the governor asking for his powers to be restored. An elected government, an elected chief minister. Once his largest ally, Conrad Sangma's NPP, has withdrawn support. Today, people have walked in a march with empty coffins in Manipur's Churachandpur district, claiming what the state have called as alleged militants were locals. 10 suspected militants were killed in the gunfight with security forces last week after insurgents in camouflage uniforms armed with sophisticated weapons fired indiscriminately at the Borabekra police station and an adjacent CRPF camp at Jakrador in Jiribam, according to Manipur police. Imphal-based joint body of Meitei civil society organizations have rejected the resolution passed by Manipur MLAs with a 24-hour ultimatum. At the core of the rejection is the escalating and relentless tensions between the Kuki and Meitei communities. The 19 months of violence, testimony to Manipur's elusive peace and political allegations of a lame duck government. Before we go any further, let's listen in to Chief Minister Biren Singh in an exclusive to Times Network.
Foreigners' indulgence and them being invited in an internal conflict was invited by Congress.
Yes. The present crisis in the state of Manipur is for influx, illegal influx from the Myanmar and other neighboring countries. But who started the bringing of the illegal migrants? That is the question. The Congress under the Home Minister P. Chidambaram, and here under the Chief Minister, the then Chief Minister Shri Ibobi, started bringing up and recognizing of the outsider.
You were also a member of Legislative Assembly.
I was also a member, but I no say. I tried to stop it, but could not. From that point of view, I really from the Congress, and I joined to BJP because I have to save my people. I have to save my country. I have to save now the demographic imbalance, the facing by the Manipuris, Nobody understands in the outside. Nobody is understanding the outside how the situation, demographic imbalance because of the mass influx illegal migrants from the Myanmar and the other countries. That is the reason why I have been targeted by from some of the Congress leader like P. Chidambaram and others, and here from some other communities.
Because you're anti-drugs?
Because I started war on drugs in 2018. Our government was formed in 2017. Immediately after that, in 2018, I started war on drugs. And we have destroyed more than 20,000 hectares of poppy plantation in the state of Manipur. And the drugs are coming from the Myanmar and the Golden Triangles. And it is passing through Manipur and going to the mainland India. I am the gatekeeper here.
Biren Singh is only on the target of all the political parties.
Because I started cleaning up all the dirty things they created. You see, they created this illegal immigration and the recognition of the outsider, and I started to clean it. And with the coming of the illegal migrants from the outside, poppy plantation started.
So what is the solution now then?
Solution will be only dialogue. Dialogue, and we, the indigenous people of Manipur, asking for NRC.
Well, Chief Minister Biren Singh saying that he is being targeted politically and he is left to do a job that was not done or shoddily done by his predecessors. We'll get to that and responses to that as well. But first, I'm being joined right now by General VP Malik, who's a former Chief of Army Staff. General VP Malik, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Manipur still remains tense. It's over 550 days of violence, almost 19 months. How do you look at this?
Sneha, it's a sad situation that has carried on for such a long time, 19 months, as you say. Uh, I give a lot of importance to Manipur because it's a border state. It has always been a sensitive state. It has got a very large number of tribals in that area. If you look at it, I think there are over 30 tribes. Of course, the main ones are Meiteis, Nagas, Kukis, and Hamars, etc. But there are a very large number of tribes, and they all speak their own language at home, if not officially. And since it has been burning, as you say, for the last 19 months, we've had over, I think, 250 casualties by now. A lot of people have been, their houses have been burned. They are now living in refugee camps, etc. And what I noticed is that the elected government has not been able to cope up with this situation. The violence in that area has to be stopped first before we go to the political solution or social solutions or socio-economic solutions. So therefore, I think that the first priority of the government, whichever is there now, it has to be to check the violence and to create some confidence amongst the people so that they can build some trust and then they can start talking with each other. And that is why I feel, because the present government has failed, I think it is time now for the government to declare the president's rule, bring in the governor's rule, and have an effective unified command, which will function under the governor. Now, that unified command will have all the paramilitary forces, the local police forces, and Assam Rifles, and if required, even the army. I noticed that the OFSPA has been brought in again because to enable the army to function if required, when required, in 6 areas, which has been done recently. So that was necessary if you want to call the army. But as I said, the first priority today in Manipur is to check the violence and to create confidence amongst the people, which means really amongst the major tribes.
So, you are essentially mooting for an effective unified command, but theoretically, that's exactly what seems to exist. So, how are you seeing what you are proposing it as any different? Because obviously, there's not a president's rule or a governor's rule, but there is a unified command structure in place.
No, look, unified command, if there is an elected government, then it has to function under the chief minister. But what we have seen that whatever kind of command which is there at the moment, which is apparently not effective, that has not been able to function under the chief minister. Chief minister has failed there in making use of unified command and making use of the security forces to check the violence, which means that today we have to create a new situation, a new setup there. That is why I am recommending that we should have the governor's rule now, or the president's rule, whatever you like to call it, under 356, Article 356, and make your unified command more effective. That is important. If some people are trying to work on this unified command from Delhi or from wherever, it is not functioning. It is not being effective. I think that we have to, I mean, that's the outcome of this 19 months that one can see so well.
General Malik, I mean, look at the violence, the nature of it, and then you have a state that calls them militants. Then you have another set of protesters who are out with empty coffins, as we saw today, saying that these were not militants, they are locals. There is so much of, it's a very emotive issue. There is so much of volatility to all of this, and of course, a lot of protests and violence. Peace remains elusive.
Look, these are all people from Manipur, most of them, different tribes. Now, once they manage to get hold of weapons and they start making use of weapons, then they become militants. And that is what has happened. Unfortunately, Manipur has a long history of weapons being taken away from armories of the civil police, even the paramilitary forces. And therefore, each tribe, I can tell you, has a number of weapons. And even now, they are getting more and more weapons. It's not only coming from Myanmar, but within the state of Manipur, because they have looted, they have taken away weapons from the armories and police, etc. There are a large number of weapons, and when a local starts using weapons to force his way, apparently he becomes a militant, and we have to deal with him accordingly.
General Malik, can't thank you enough. Thank you for joining us, giving your perspective. Thank you so much for your time. At this point, let me just introduce my other panelist, Kamruzman Chaudhary, who is a political analyst, Pratim Ranjan Bose, who's a senior journalist and columnist, Professor Pyang, who's with the University of Hyderabad, Dr. Tongkulal Haukip, who's an assistant professor with the Center for Study of Law and Governance, JNU, PK Mishra, former ADG, BSF. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Let me just come to you first, Kamruzman Chaudhary, and I'm coming to you because we just had an exclusive with the Chief Minister, Biren Singh, who just a few months back went, petitioning the governor, saying, restore my powers. I need powers back. And he's essentially gone on to say that he's facing the wrath because he's taken a strong stand against the drug mafias, as it were. Also, he's just doing a job, a cleanup job that the Congress or the predecessors never did. In contrast to what we even heard General Malik say, that it's time for the president's rule.
Absolutely. You see, I was amused when your reporter asked the Chief Minister of Manipur, Mr. Biren Singh, sir, what is the solution? He was paused for a moment. He was rather stumped. Actually, what is the solution? He also doesn't know what the solution is. This is an ethnic problem. You know, Sneha, one thing, I've spent my entire childhood in Nagaland. And I've done my schooling till class 12 in Nagaland itself, and I know how the tribalism in those areas are. The dominant tribes of Manipur, like the Kukis and the Nagas, and the plain tribals like the Meiteis out there, there is a serious sense of regionalism right starting from around 100 years old. And this is not a solution that can be worked out in one fortnight. Even in 92, when there were serious clashes between Nagas and the Kukis, that time also we were at a loss to find a solution for this problem. It's walking like a thin ice, but the BJP government has to answer a lot of questions. After 2 years, almost 2 years now, and we have lost around more than 300 people and around 70 to 60,000 people displaced from their homes. What is the solution? The Chief Minister does not know. As far as I know, the only solution now is, as General Malik said, is putting the entire Manipur under one unified structure, dismiss the Biren Singh government, impose president's rule out there, get into the confidence of the tribals and work out a solution from them itself. It cannot be a solution like the Naga Framework Agreement that Narendra Modi ji had with the Naga militants in 2015, the contents of which we never knew. It has to be a transparent solution, a long-lasting solution in Manipur where the tribal can coexist. We cannot change the status quo, whether the tribals have come from Myanmar or whether they were displaced from the Naga districts in 92 or after that, or now whether Nagas have been asked to move out of Moreh district and all this. These are not the way that the entire problem can be solved out here. I believe the only solution going forward is the dismissal of the Biren Singh government, bring it under a unified command structure and restore peace.
Pratim Ranjan Bose, is this now increasingly not just the line that the opposition is taking, but increasingly there seems to be a resonance across people? And I do not intend to get into political rhetoric, but one of the biggest slogans that the BJP at the center says, double engine ki sarkar, that's exactly what Manipur has. But it's 19 months. I was just discussing this with some of my senior journalists because obviously I only have X number of years as a journalist. I was trying to reach out to veterans in this field. In the living memory of a generation, India has not seen 19 months of violence and escalation and a chief minister clamoring for powers. Pratim Ranjan Bose.
Sneha, let me correct you. 19 months of violence we have seen. We have seen more. But that is not I'm not trying to refer to that. You started off by saying that you are not bringing political rhetoric. And yes, you cannot bring politics into it because the whole state has been divided along the ethnic lines. You must have seen some NPP MLAs went to Chief Minister's conference defying the norm, and some BJP MLAs didn't go. It means that you are either a Methi or a Kuki. It doesn't matter which party you are. So, first of all, I do agree with General Malik and other panelists that there has to be president's rule. This is, is necessary. Unified command is, yes, it's necessary. But I'm telling you, the solution will not come. Simply because you have seen what happened at Jiribam. And then what happened? See, whatever you see in Manipur, don't treat it as some people are crying or some people are affected or some. You have to say from which community they are. Unfortunately so. That is how they are treating themselves. Whether you are on that side or this side. So this, the police, if you are, see, you can't move there, whomsoever you bring in. You can't move there without the support of the police. Now, as soon as you take police, cookies will say that this is a Meitei thing. So I'm saying that president's rule is now necessary because this government cannot work because the chief minister is treated by cookies as a Meitei, period. And here, as soon as you are going along to trying to bring peace, it will take its own time. It has no kind of easy solution and other things that we are seeing. Manipur is known for many things which are in exception to Northeast. For example, rape is an example. You will not see it in other parts of Northeast as much used as a weapon. Rape is weaponized in Manipur. It has a history.
I think I need to get in PK Mishra at this point. Mr. PK Mishra, do you want to respond to what you just heard right now? Considering you've also been in Manipur, you've served in Manipur as well.
Yes. Yes, Neha. I have served in Manipur for more than 5 years and I have commanded a lot of operations in Manipur, particularly in the border areas. And this type of situation was not there at all. And I can tell you that time, the militancy was there. We had PLA, we had UNLF, we had KYKL, we had KYKLO, we had ZRA. But the thing is, we could control them, even with less number of forces. What the situation has gone wrong in last about 19 months, Manipur is having maximum number of forces any state has in India. And why it cannot be controlled? Just see. One of the SSP was relieved of his charge at Jiribam because of firing, and one civilian died and one civilian got injured, and you have relieved of his duty from Jiribam. I am telling only two persons, two areas. Jiribam, a district, cannot be controlled either by any security force or the SP or the DIG or the IG or the DG police. Look, the supply chain to Imphal from Silchar, your Jiribam axis, NS37, it cannot be opened. What a shame to the government. What a shame to the security apartment in the state. The chief minister, he cannot go to his own area. He cannot go to Chudachandpur. He cannot go to Jiribam. He cannot go to Chandel. He cannot go to Visnupur. then where is he going? How can he command? A chief minister is asking, give me the power. Now, 20 companies have gone more to Manipur, yet you see the situation remains
15 total.
A number of
17
MLAs
total,
were
actually.
ransacked.
20 plus 50,
And
so
I'm
it's
telling
70
you,
companies in total again.
I know. 50 more are just reaching. 20 have reached and they have been deployed. I will tell you why it can be done very easily. First, you bring down the violence. Violence can be brought down if all the weapons which were looted in the valley from the police stations are recovered. And number two, all the weapons which are there in the hill areas which have come from Myanmar, they have to be covered. And then the political dialogue should start. Political dialogue will start if there is a proper government. You see, the chief minister's meeting was there and 11 MLAs didn't come. He has issued the notice. The government asked for APSPA in 6 police stations and MHA agreed it and APSPA was provoked. And now you see the same government.
Okay.
When they were told by Kokomi, they asked for withdrawal of the same. Next point I will tell you, Sneha. You see, the operations cannot be done. Counter-insurgency operation and internal security duty operation cannot be done in these areas. Yes, if the border is not properly covered, border is not covered. Myanmar and Manipur border is open even till today. Why last 18 months the border remains open? Why can't we put a border guarding force, maybe even Assam rifle to be deployed in the border?
Hugely important questions from the former ADG of BSF. Thank you very much, PK Mishra. Let me just very quickly, I know I have 2 other panelists to go to respond, but very quickly, Pratim Ranjan Bose, maybe a minute to you and then a minute to Kamruzman. Very valid points being made here. I mean, how is there going to be a dialogue of any sorts if the violence cannot be contained, if there is no political messaging, if there is no political will, if that is something that can be said? Pratim Ranjan, first.
Yeah, Sneha, the problem is that the moment you act, see, Jiribam, why the state chief of commando chief has been removed? Because someone Meitei has been killed. Now the Meiteis do also have arms. Meiteis are also military. You know, they also have their own share of militants. So that is why I say that, and I do agree with the other panelists that the border should also be closed. And it has to be, it will take its time, because the moment you act against one group, you have to show neutrality when you are trying to bring in law and order. And every time you act, the other group will say that he is biased because police is involved. And without police, how can
Kamruzman Chaudhary, a minute before I go to the others. Kamruzman Chaudhary, please respond. But if it is going to be like literally like how it's sounding on this panel, because I mean we were very particular that we would want to have people who know the situation in and out, and this cannot be a show on rhetorics. Our panelists are exactly like that, but this just seems unending.
No, yeah, Sneha, one should understand the politics of Manipur first. You know, the Jiribam the Jiribam now in the question of debate right now. You know, Jiribam is the only rail head of the state of Manipur, wherein lot of supplies are being supplied from the Silchar side, that is the Barakwali side of Assam. But the most important flashpoint is the control of the India-Myanmar border, that is Moreh, wherein the cookies are dominant out there. Earlier there were also illegal smuggling across the border that has been happening. As some of the panelists, the learned panelists in your panel, they have rightly pointed out. Why can't we protect our borders? Why can't we just let go the Indo-Myanmar border trade agreement that exists on Moreh? Why not cancel it, make it redundant, seal our borders in the Moreh, and see to it that the arms are recovered? There has to be a political will. The rhetorics of the Bharatiya Janata Party that everything is okay in Manipur is living in a state of denial out there. Sneha, the 3 major tribes out there, it's not about the giving scheduled tribe status to the Meiteis that created all the flashpoint out here. but the political will is lacking from New Delhi itself.
Right. Professor Piang, thank you for joining us. Good evening. Professor Piang, my question to you is very straight. It's a question that the whole country has, and I'm sure even the political establishments have. What's the way forward?
Yeah, if the state fails to protect their citizens, and then obviously the people have to protect themselves. They have been doing that one before. During the British time also, they tried to protect themselves. Up to some extent, they could do. For 1 year, they could protect themselves, and then somehow, afterward, they were defeated. However, now the thing is that the main problem which we face in Manipur right now is the radicalizations of the youth. That was done before the ongoing violence was started. It was started on the 3rd May, we know that. But the radicalization has happened before that one, 1 year before that one. For example, the Arambai Tingal, we have never heard about it, though I was born in Manipur and then raised in Manipur. I have never heard about it. This time only, before May 3rd, 2023, I come to know in the Facebook and the social medias about Arambai Tingal, and then we know that. So the radicalization has been there, and then the hate campaign was there, and the insecurity, whether it is fabricated or not, has been there. The insecurity campaign has been started in since 1990s and from the 90s and all, and then for quite some time it has been there, and then somehow it has been mainly done to get ILPS, and then so the insecurity campaign was successful that the Manipur, especially the Valley people, demand that one. They have got that one, the ILPS system. And then they extend again and again, and last, they labeled the own people, the indigenous peoples of Manipur who are inhabiting from their forefathers' time in the hill areas. They were foreigners, illegal immigrants, and all that kind of things, various sort of labeling, and then even criminalizing and various sort of name calling, even calling them slave in their language, Menai. That's why the tribals were not really coping up with that kind of a situation. And then so,
Professor
as and
Piang,
when the kind of,
while
which I
the
don't want to use,
history is extremely troublesome and definitely goes beyond these 19 months as well. For sure,
that is very
there's
true.
a lot that's happened. At the heart of it is a lot of issues, including identity, land, and so on and so forth. But nothing can justify violence.
Yeah, that is true. I totally condemn about all the violence which had happened. But the main thing is that the problem has become non-recognitions of each other. And then, for example, the Anglo-Kuki War, which the British recorded there's a Kuki uprisings and all that kind of things. The government of Manipur recently not trying to recognize that one. But it has been fought for more than 2 years, and then spending more than 28 lakhs by the British government of India. So that kind of things, for quite some time, the government of Manipur trying to protect all that kind of fragilities, that the historical process, which was very fragile, but this government have destroyed the whole things which has been protected, and then the kind of misunderstanding that which can crop up, but these government have, instead of bringing and forging the future together, they destroy the whole things. And then, in fact, if we just look at Manipur, how they have been living together separately. I have been using this one.
Let me get in a response from the BJP, but before that, Dr. Haukip, if I can get you in to respond to Professor Piang. Professor Piang has given, he has elaborated certain points. How do you look at this? It's with because it's important to get in all perspectives, Dr. Haukip. How do you look at somebody who's from Manipur, who looks at this very closely? How do you look at what Professor Pyang has just said, again, who's an equal stakeholder in Manipur?
Sneha, unfortunately, for the last 18 months, we are in a kind of habituant state of nature where you have group conflict, where one group is against another, trying to kill one another. So that's the kind of state that we have for the last 18 months. And it's not only within this state, but now, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, this violence has spread even beyond the state of Manipur. In Kachar district, some kind of internally displaced people had been killed. So the violence has spread even to Kachar in Assam, and then there are radical groups being mobilized in Calcutta, Delhi, Chandigarh, and other places. So it can spread beyond the state boundaries of Manipur if the state government or even the central government is not controlling the situation. So if you look into the kind of governance that we have in the last 18 months, you find that all of this conflict centers around one person, that is the head of the government. For about 3 months since the Indian general election, there was a kind of a relative peace, calm in the state. But however, as soon as the chief minister audio tape emerges and the other group in the hills of Manipur demanded a kind of accountability, then immediately in October, another round of fresh violence starts. And in September and October, there was always violence again, once again. And recently, last week, another round of fresh violence started again because that audio tape was brought in the Supreme Court, where the Kuki Movement for Human Rights, filed a writ petition against the Chief Minister of Manipur. And another round of violence started in Jiribam. So all this kind of pattern has been observed in the last 5 months, and the Bal Engine Sarkar has not been functioning for 18 months. The other engine has been totally gone unfunctional for the last 18 months, but the other engine is not able to repair or try to change the other engine. So that's the kind of situation that we have.
I get your point. Let me just come up. Pratim Ranjan Bose, I mean, look at it, every single panelist, despite the divergent views and the backgrounds that they come from, and that's what we have really tried doing in this panel. Nobody is from the same background. Everybody is divergent. There's largely a huge consensus about how the governments have failed completely. I think that's now not just an opposition peg. That's overwhelmingly being agreed to across the country.
Yeah, I cannot, I have been studying Northeast for 30 years. So I cannot really speak for, and I'm not speaking for any party or any government. If you look at it one way, you can say that the problem has its roots at the way Biren Singh might have handled the issues from May 2023.
Or not handled, actually.
Fine, fair enough. Whichever way you express. The other way to look at it is that there was a court order. Now that court order has been scrapped. But did that solve the problem? These communities have very long, there is a very deep divide between them, and it keeps surfacing. This time it has gone out of hand.
True.
And of course, the government has to, in power, has to take the blame. I mean, Delhi, right? And the government, the unique situation is that the government in Manipur has become a government of Meitei. And now, whichever party is in power, well, the opposition might enjoy BJP's situation, but the unfortunate truth is, this is not going to be resolved in a political approach. You have to give it time, and the government center, if it had made mistakes at the beginning, it has to correct them. It has to give it time. It has to attack from all sides, from border to Assam side, every side. Peace has to be restored. There is little doubt about it.
Pratim Ranjan, how do you respond to what is being said at this? Professor Piang, how do you respond to what is being said by Pratim Ranjan Bose? He's saying whichever government comes in place, it's not really the point of the government. It's literally about Meiteis and the cookies. So it's literally about that, and whichever government comes to problem is going to face the same situation. Professor Piang.
Yeah, that is true. In the sense like Sami Smoha talk about ethnic democratic state when he studied about Israel state. In the same way, Manipur is also a kind of ethnic democratic state where the majorities are dominating, and then the whole institutions in various powers, and then they have 40 out of 60 MLAs. So everything, whatever they do, so far after independence, the hill tribes, whatever they have demand so far, and a little bit of a political demand and various other things have never been taken in seriously. However, whatever has been demanded by the majority has been, for example, they put the Manipuri language in 8th schedule and all that kind of things. That's what we know. But the main thing is that even all the institutions and every other institutions, the central institutions are only concentrated in the valley. So the hill peoples are demanding various other political demand. We know what the Naga has demanded, and then the Kuki, Zomi, Mar, and all this tribe, which I usually called in my PhD thesis also
All
Zo
this
people.
is fair.
They
I mean,
demanded
as somebody who lives in India, who's a partner with Manipur, all of these demands are fair in the sense it's always at the heart of so much of unrest across states, protests and demands and so on and so forth. But 19 months of unrelenting violence is something very disturbing, Dr. Haukip, and I'm sure it's not about just being disturbed outside Manipur. It's equally for the Manipuris, lakhs of them displaced, hundreds killed. Dr. Haukip.
Yeah, I was in your show on the 4th of May last year. And in that show itself, on the 4th of May last year, I was talking about President's rule, looking into the kind of conflict that has been built up since 2022 and the first 3 months of 2023. I have been looking into how the government look into various issues, how it has been handled. And the government became a kind of ethnocratic government. So I have been suggesting that on the 4th of May in your show in Mirror Now that there has to be a kind of centrist rule in the form of president's rule. Otherwise, the state will be out of control. And in various shows that I have come into your show again, reiterated the same thing, but that doesn't happen at all. So what we see is the result of all those kind of constitutional suggestions that we made, the kind of emergency that we have in the state of Manipur. We feel it right here in Delhi also. And the only way to protect is to have a central rule in Manipur for at least 6 months. Or if not, we can have even a year also. That's what the constitutional provisions
P.K.
are.
Mishra, do you agree with that, P.K. Mishra?
Yes, Sneha, I can only tell that this is the only alternate thing to be done because this government has failed miserably for the last 18 months. They cannot control the state, they cannot control the border, they cannot control the conflict. Conflict is continuing with 70,000 forces and 20 companies have already gone, 50 more going, and the political dialogues have failed, and also this internal security duties, counter-insurgency operations have failed. Why it has failed? That means the command, unified command is not working properly, the government is not working properly. The only thing is border to be sealed by a border guarding force. Number 2, the government should be dismissed, president's rule has to be formed, and this unified command to be made afresh, and a real army commander can be kept there who knows Manipur terrain. I repeat, who has served in Manipur terrain, and all the forces can come under them. That's the only way, and then the political dialogue can continue. This is the only way it can
Right.
solve.
Unfortunately, we are totally out of time. Kamruzman Chowdhury, Pratim Ranjan Bose, Professor Pyang,
No
Dr.
problem.
Haukip, as well as PK Mishra, thank you very much for joining us. I think one thing all of us, at least all those in the panel, have agreed to is there needs to be a president's rule to get some form of peace, or at least a manner to get to peace in Manipur. A huge failure at many levels. Time for a very short break. On the other side, we'll bring you the latest.